So before we get started, I just have a quick question. What would you be willing to give up for your child? Would you be willing to give up time? I mean, my son's only 4 months old. I could say I've given up tons of time in order to help raise him, and it's been a blast. I've loved every second of it, but I have sacrificed a lot of time. Would you be willing to give up a career? I mean, I had a pretty kick-ass job, to be honest. I got to travel a lot. It gave me an opportunity. I lived in Alaska for a while. I got to go to Vegas multiple times a year. A lot of traveling. I absolutely loved it. And I gave it all up when we had our kid. And I haven't looked back. What about money? Diapers are expensive. Anyone who has kids know that diapers are expensive. All right, it costs a lot of money. And I have no regrets at all about it. Which is why it's surprising when I saw the CNN article that has a very weird way of defending abortion. And real quick, the left has always criticized us on, all of us on the right, that we care more about the economy than we do human lives. Yet this CNN article, and I've seen a lot of people sharing, why Texas strict abortion law is terrible for the economy. We say we don't want to lock down the country and basically ruin our entire economy, sending people into a state of just state of poverty that it's going to have cascading effects going on to the future. And they say that we hate human lives. We just want to kill grandma, as that one article said. Yet when it comes to the killing of children, their defense they like using is that, well, if you did it, it would be bad for the economy. Now, this isn't too surprising, obviously. Again, these are collectivists we are talking about. Collectivist. Not individualists like us. We believe in the inherent value of people as individuals. That every man, woman, and child has an individual spirit to them. That at the end of the day, that, I don't know what's best for you. You know what's best for you, because I don't live your life. You live your life. And the best we can hope to do is defend each other's rights so that all of us can pursue what is meaningful to ourselves. Because in the end, I can't tell you what that is going to be for you. You can't tell what that's going to be for me. So the best I can do is defend your rights to try and experience new things. But these people are collectivists. They look at us as ones and zeros. They look at us as like cogs in a machine. And an unwanted child, well, that damages the machine now, doesn't it? And so what do you do with something that is damaging the machine? Well, you remove it. You take it away. And they don't care about that child as a person, as an individual, the life it could go on to lead. They don't care the fact they just killed a human being. They care about the fact that it is going to assist them going forward through their own personal desires, what they want, what they desire, and they're willing to harm others to get that. We believe in pursuing our individual wants and needs to the extent that it does not it doesn't harm others along the way, right? I can't just murder you to steal your stuff because that's just what I want to do. I'm not allowed to do that. We defend each other's rights of life and liberty. And the very key reason of this is so that we can all go on and just truly experience life at its fullest, right? Again, we're individuals at heart. We defend your ability to live your life because you are an individual and deserve that. These rights are given to you by God or by nature if you're not religious, and we must defend these rights at any cost. These people, of course, do not believe in the idea of God-given rights, which is why they decide when these rights apply and when they don't. And of course, if the child is just inside the womb, then apparently their rights don't matter. But let's go through this article just a little bit. Again, why their defense here is that it is terrible for the economy. It makes you again wonder a little bit like why. Who is this for? Who is this? Whose minds are they changing with this article? What pro-lifer is going to see this and say, you know what, I was completely for the protection of human life until I realized it's actually bad for the economy. No pro-lifer is going to change their opinion on this. Again, this is just red meat to their collectivist base who does not care about individuals. They care about, of course, the group as a whole. And so if they can find any reason at all for why it can be justified. They want to spew it out there. And they think they understand us on the right, and they think that we care only about the economy and only care about money. And so they want to use this as a method to, try to have an argument against us at times. Not realizing the fact of when we care about the economy, we care about the individuals who are running the economy, not just money in general. But let's get to this article. As abortion rights advocates scramble to fight a Texas law that effectively bans abortions in the state, and it does effectively ban abortions in the state. I know people are going to say, well, you got 6 weeks. Most women don't know that they're pregnant in 6 weeks. It is an effective ban on abortion, and I'm cool with it, right? It has your typical, exceptions such as, rape, incest, and life of the mother, right? And though I don't fully agree with those exceptions, those make up so few of abortions. If we can save 99.99% of all children by allowing those to exist, fine. Let's just move to Overton window right now. That's all I care. Let's move to Overton window. So this does effectively ban abortions in the state, which is great, though. Economists are drawing attention to the financial hardships and subsequent economic downsides that can occur when a woman's reproductive rights are restricted. Yes, because this is what we care about when, if the child is 1 year old, then, we would we allow her to then kill that child because it has a negative financial impact on her? Just saying. The effects having children have on a woman's career and pay are well documented. While men and women with comparable qualifications and jobs earn similar at the start of their careers, this changes when women choose to have children, after which their pay takes a hit. This is often called the motherhood penalty. Okay, full stop real quick. It's not a penalty. You want to spend more time with your child, so you work less. This is a good thing, actually. Again, I just mentioned at the beginning of this that I left my job, it's my main job, because I want to be here for my kid. Is that fatherhood penalty? No, it's that I made a decision of what is of worth to me in my life, and my child is way more important than any career ever could be. It's as simple as that. So this idea of a motherhood penalty, absolutely ridiculous. However, let's also not forget, they also mentioned the fact of for women who choose to have children, which means this happens to literally just having a kid has this. It's not about people who are looking for abortions. It's about people who just have kids in general. So we're talking about the downsides of children right now, because of course that's what they really want to hit on. But the data on the effects of limited reproductive freedoms are just as telling. Being denied an abortion causes massive financial distress, and that distress is disproportionately harmful to poorer women and women of color. Because of course the left wants more, or they want less black children. That's what they really want, right? I mean, Margaret Sanger, the creator of Planned Parenthood, her whole goal was to eradicate the black race. That was her mission of establishing Planned Parenthood. So of course we're going to talk about the fact of, we got to cull the herd, right? We have to make sure there aren't enough minorities having kids out there. You don't want the browning of America to happen. They want to accuse us on the right for caring so much about that. Yet they're the ones who apparently want to abort all the kids of color. So just saying. The effects of being denied an abortion. Critics of the law, which prohibit abortions as early as 6 weeks, say the measures ignore people who seek that people who seek abortions are disproportionately poor and disproportionately people of color. Many people seeking abortions already face difficult financial circumstances, said Caitlin Myers, professor of economics at Middleton College. Why do I care that you're facing financial circumstances? And just really, what does this have to do with you having a kid? If anything, it means put the kid up for adoption if you can't have the kid. And that's the best I can say. About 3/4 are low income. About half already have children. And that's just kind of sad to think. Half already have children and still want an abortion. Disturbing stuff, man. And more than half report recent disruptive life events such as losing a job or breakup with a partner. Okay, here we go again. These are people who had kids out of wedlock, which means this isn't a economic issue. This is a cultural issue. Because as we know, by every standard, if you are married, your financial success in life is dramatically improved. It truly is. The minute you get married, the chance of you being financially stable in a few years' time has gone up dramatically. And it's because of a couple of different things. Obviously, you're secured in the sense of you have two incomes, and this is basically a permanent establishment. Obviously, it's not fully permanent because you can get divorces, but it is, at the very least, more secure than just dating is. Two, when you get married, you start having more responsibilities, right? You start caring a bit more about what you do with your life and how that impacts your partner. So typically you work harder, and of course you get that promotion that you otherwise would not have been able to get because you were just kind of going wherever the wind takes you. So getting married is a big part of this. If you aren't married, you shouldn't be having children. It's as simple as that. If you're not married, don't have children. And yes, that means you might not be able to have sex. Oh, boo-hoo. For God's sake, I mean, come on. What are you? Are you a human being or are you an animal? Either A, use a damn condom, use contraceptives, and understand that even then there's still a risk. If you truly are in a situation where you cannot afford a child, period, just don't have sex. I just wait to do it until you don't have to be married for all I care. I'm not one of these people saying that I wasn't, but I had sex before marriage. I'm not saying you can't have sex before marriage. I'm just simply saying is if you can't afford to take care of a child, maybe you should think about that before you have sex. Maybe you should get your stuff together and you should be caring less about the sex in life, and maybe you should be caring about, I don't know, where you're at in life in general and start working on that. Maybe that's more important. An analysis of credit reports of women who took part in the Turnaway study, which looks at the effects of denied abortions on women's lives over multiple years, shows that not being able to terminate an unwanted pregnancy increases the amount of debt past due for 30 days or more by 78%. So that's over the lives just a multiple years after being denied the abortion. I have an interesting study to pull up here, or just to mention here. What about the children who are aborted? I wonder where they are at a few years down. So the ones who aren't aborted, obviously, they are out living their lives. They're 3 years old, 4 years old, laughing, giggling, of course, just bringing cheer to everyone around them. What about the ones who are terminated? Oh, yeah, they're dead. Right? So, I mean, we're going to care about your debt being past due for 30 days or more when the alternative to that is killing a child? I'll take the debt, thank you very much. An increase in the instance of negative public records such as bankruptcies and evictions by 81%. An intrusion in people's economic lives, or it's an intrusion into people's economic lives. What about the abortion? I think it's an intrusion into the just direct lives of the child, but okay. Professor in obstetrics, I can't say that, I'm not going to say it. In reproductive sciences at the University of California, San Francisco, who led the Turnaway study, some women who had an abortion had children down the line, and we saw small increases in financial problems, but by no means as much as women who didn't have access to abortions, said Sarah Miller, a professor of business economics and public policy at the University of Michigan, who analyzed the data in the Foster study. The majority of people who seek abortion, 60%, are already mothers, according to Foster's. Again, that is disturbing. You are a mother. You've gone through this process. We have a little picture in our, in our son's room. It's, the first ultrasound when he's about this big and he's about the size of a gummy bear. And, on the bottom of it says, we loved you even then, or even now, something along those lines, right? We loved you even then. The minute we knew she was pregnant, like the minute we could even see anything, we were in tears. We were honestly in tears of how happy we were. We knew instantly we loved this child. It didn't take after he was born for that to happen. The minute we knew we were, the minute we knew she was pregnant, the minute that we saw the ultrasound, every second of just hearing that heartbeat, right? I do not know how a person can go through that and then afterwards say, oh yeah, abortion, still just fine. It boggles the mind. It truly does. The findings are clear. Reproductive freedom and economic freedom go hand in hand and have trickle-down effects on gender equality and equal pay. Women were 47% of the U.S. workforce as of August, and their broad consensus among economics is increasing the women's labor force participation could add billions of dollars to America's gross domestic product and the broadest gauge of economic activity. Making it harder to access abortion also ignores the resources a mother might have available to her, including access to contraception, savings or family support, according to Foster. When a woman is denied an abortion, we found in the long run, she is not supported by a partner or her family. Okay, then why does she sleep with the man? Here's a hint. Don't sleep with someone who isn't going to help you raise a kid. All right? Simple as that. We talked about, me and my wife talked about this before we were married. We had this discussion actually before we were married. Hey, what if something happens? What would we do? And we both came to agreement of, well, she asked me that. And my instance was, well, we'll just get married and raise the kid. Because at the end of the day, the kid is more important to either of us. It's as simple as that. Don't sleep with someone who isn't willing to do that. Not very hard. For example, a mother of 2 children might be worried that a third child would threaten the financial well-being of her existing children, Miller said. Again, I don't know how you have 2 children and not realize the fact of this is a living being. All right, you've had 2 living inside you already. You should know it's a living being at this point. It amazes me how callous some of these mothers can be. And I'll go through the rest of this article because it just kind of keeps going along the same basic structure. And I don't want this to go on for too long, but I did want to bring this up because this is a major problem right now in society. We're at a major crossroads right here, right? And we're actually making some real, headway into the, to direction we need to be going in. It's one of those things. I've been asked by multiple people, well, how could people in the past have ever justified slavery? How could people ever justify the owning of another human being? If I was there, I would have been against it. The reality is no. Most people would not have been against it back then. And the best way we can see this, I think, is through abortion. How many people are just saying, shout your abortion, shout your abortion. It's such a great thing, abortion. These people aren't pro-choice, they're pro-abortion half the time. When a woman decides not to have the abortion, their first question is, well, why not? Well, why not get it? It's great. Look at the economic liberty you get from it. These people are pro-abortion. And I truly do feel abortion will be that for our generation. I think, give it 100 years, 200 years down the road, people will look back at us like we're barbarians for what we've done. Right? We have murdered generations of children. Lord knows what they could have gone on to do. Lord knows what they could have gone on to create. And instead we've killed them before their lives can even begin. And obviously, there's so many other just BS, things that the left tries to use to try to guess, oh, well, we got you here. This is why abortion should be allowed. The funny one I always still see is the, you keep your religion out of my life, which just is ridiculous considering the fact a lot of us, including myself, like I'm a Christian now, but I was a full-blown atheist when I became pro-life. All right, before I was an atheist, it was kind of funny. I was actually probably pro-choice, and the reason is because I just didn't want to touch the issue with, a 7-foot pole-based guy. I just was like, no, avoiding that. No, I'm not going to talk about that. When I became an atheist for a while, I wanted to find answers in science all the time. And when you look at when life starts, it's hard to argue with conception, scientifically speaking. It has its own DNA. At what point do you not just say, listen, it has its own DNA structure. It's its own life. Period. And so as far as I'm concerned, the heartbeat is already giving some leadway here, right? I still think if you abort it before the heartbeat, it's still murder. But I'm willing to at least allow that middle ground to be reached because, again, I want to move the Overton window. We should all be happy this Overton window is being moved because more and more people are falling to the pro-life side. It's not a religious thing, right? It's not a religious thing. Tons of atheists are coming to a pro-life side because the science is behind us. The science is there. The science is showing us more and more, how much life is truly there inside the womb. There, babies are being pulled out of the womb at like 4 months and still surviving in some cases. I mean, it brings a question. If you can abort a kid at 6 months, what's the difference between aborting that kid at 6 months than if the kid was born at 5 months prematurely? Can you then kill it a month later? All right, the time they've been alive for the exact amount of time, really, if you get what I'm saying here. When do you decide it's no longer all right to kill a child? Just because it's no longer inside the woman? So its location is what's going to make the difference here? The left is now getting wise to this and are simply saying pretty overtly now that yes, it's killing a child and it's necessary, is what they're saying. A lot of them are now straight up saying that yes, it is the murder of a child. Oh, they say the killing, not the murder. The left looks at everything as cogs in a machine. Like I said at the beginning, they're collectivist. They do not look at a baby with any intrinsic value of its own. They simply look at it as something that has to be integrated into the machine, and if it's difficult to integrate, then why not just toss it out altogether? This is why we have to fight this idea of collectivism. This is why we must push the ideas of individualism, because if you live in an individualist society that puts the individual first before all, you will have protections like these for the unborn. You will not just have protections for yourselves, for your Second Amendment rights, but you'll also have pro-life laws. And we gotta start fighting. We gotta start really fighting more and more for these pro-life laws, because the winds are turning. And more people are coming over to the pro-life side. And we should be excited. We should be excited to see it, and we should no longer remain quiet about it either. We're pro-life, and we should be proud of it. It's as simple as that. Either way, I know it's been a bit long, but I'm going to pull that card. As someone who just had a kid, God, am I passionate about this at this point. I am heated. I just can't imagine someone not wanting their child. I can't imagine it. I just don't get it. But what do you think? Do you think this law is going to still last? What's with the left, of course, going now with the, economy angle? It seems ridiculous, I know, but who is this supposed to appeal to? Is it just red meat for the base, or are they actually trying to convince people from the pro-life side over to them? Leave a comment below. Of course, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you have enjoyed it, and of course, we'll be seeing you again real soon.